In this video I'm going to show you how to use the Grand Theft 3 Photoshop action. So the way the action works is you open up your photo, you simply fill in your subject with a color and just play the action. And here is the effect that the action creates. So as you can see what the action does, it transforms the photo into the GTA art style, and the results that you get are fully layered. So there is a lot of options for customizing the results, and the action also creates 20% color looks that you can choose from. And there are also some additional actions included. So there are 16 background shape actions included you can use to transform the background shape, and there's also an action included that gives you an option to add additional elements to the design if you like. And there is a GTA text effect action included, so you can create the GTA text effect using your own text. And there is also an action included that animates the results, so you can animate the results that you get if you like. Alright, so let me just close these two windows now. So after you open up your photo, before you use the action, there are just a few things that you should check just to make sure that the action will run without any errors. So the first thing that you should check is that your photo is a background layer, so it should be called background and have this little lock icon. So if you have something like this or anything else, just go to layer, new, and choose a background from layer. Then click on this menu icon over here and go to panel options, and just make sure that this option here, add copy to copied layering groups, is checked. Then go to image mode and just make sure your photo is in the RGB color mode 8-bit channel, and check the image size over here. So for best results, you use the images that are from 20 to 4,100 pixels wide or high. Okay, now to lock the actions, just go to Window, Actions, click on this menu icon over here, Load Actions, and now just choose the action from a folder according to your Photoshop version, and you can just double click the action file. The action folder will appear here in your Actions panel, and when you open the folder, you find here the main Grand Theft 3 action, the background shape actions, the additional element action, add text action, and the action to animate the result, and also to animate additional element if you have added some additional elements to the design. Alright, so now what you need to do is just go to layer, new layer to create a new layer, and name it brush. This is very important that you type the brush exactly like this, all letters lowercase, because otherwise the action won't work. And just choose OK. And now you can just hit B on your keyboard to select the brush tool and just pick hard brush. You can drop the hardness of the brush a little bit and choose any color here. Colors don't matter. And what you need to do is just brush over your subject. And what you can also do, if it's easier for you, is to create a selection of your subject and just fill it with color. So in that case, just select the background layer, and you can choose some of the selection tools, for example the quick selection tool. And in this example, it's easier to select the background and then reverse the selection to get the selection of your subject. So you can just create a selection like this. You can use the the square bracket on the keyboard to change the size of this cursor, and you can also use the Alt or Option button to remove some area from the selection, or Shift button to add some area to the selection. And after you make the perfect selection, just press Control Command Shift I on your keyboard to inverse the selection. Select the brush layer and press Shift F5 to fill the selection with the foreground color. Then just press Control Command D to deselect. Right. What's important is that before you fill the selection with the color, to select this brush layer, so you get this color fill on this layer here. Right. So I've already done the brush before more precise. So just gonna open my PSD file. Okay, so what's more, it's important that you have this color fill on this brush layer. So it doesn't matter if you have brushed over your photo or fill the selection with the color, just important that this color fill is on this brush layer. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is just expand a little bit the canvas size. So just going to go to Image, Canvas Size, and I'm going to expand the canvas on this side over here. So just going to click here, so I'm expanding the canvas in this direction. I have the red option checked, and just gonna increase the width for about 150. Alright, and then I go to Image, Canvas Size again, and I'm gonna click here to increase the canvas size. In this direction, I'm just gonna increase the height for 100 pixels. Choose OK. Alright, and I just want to do one more thing before I play the action, and this is to replace the background of this photo. So if you wish to use a different background for your subject, it's important that you change the background before you play the action, because the action will also apply effects to the background. Alright, so if you wish to change the background of your photo, what you need to do is to just go to File and choose Place Embedded, and just going to select the background image, and then I'm going to use in this example. So now you can just move it or transform it as you like. And if you're transforming the image, make sure you're using holding the Shift button and dragging some of these corners to keep the proportions of the photo. Right? After you finish, you just hit Enter, and now just drag this layer just below the brush layer. Then Control Command, click on the brush layer thumbnail to make a selection of the brush layer. Select the background layer and press Control or Command J to create a new layer using the selection. Then just drag this layer above the photo layer and hide the brush layer. Alright, so now I'm just gonna make some final changes to this photo. Alright, so just gonna place it like this, and then what you're going to do is to select these layer that you created using the selection, and just shift click on the background layer to select all layers between, and press Ctrl or Command E on your keyboard to merge them into one layer. Alright, so now we have replaced the background for photo, and now you can turn on the brush layer again and select the Grant F3 action, and all you have to do is to just click play. And I'm going to fasten the video here, and I'm going to get back when the action is finished, and then I'm going to go throughout all the layers to show you how each layer works, how it affects the design, how can you customize it, and then we're going to use these other actions that are included. Alright, so the action is just finished, so I'm just going to close the actions panel for now. And the first thing that you probably want to do each time you run the action is to just quickly close down all these folders. So how can you quickly do that? So just hold Control and Alt button for PC or Command Option for Mac, and while this folder is selected here, just click on this little arrow here, and that way we're going to close down all the folders. Right, so just going to expand a little bit this layers panel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start customizing this effect from the bottom, and I'm just going to turn off this layer for now. I'm going to explain later why. Alright, so the first layer we got here is just your original photo layer, and the next layer we got is the background color layer, and you can just double click here and change the color. However, as you can see, when you make some changes here, the change is not visible here because we got these background effect layers. So if you hide this background effect layer, then your background will be a single color, and you can just choose any color that you like. Alright, so the next layer we got is the background effect layer, and this layer is a smart object. So when you double click here, you can make any changes here if you like. So this is the main background effect layer, and here we got the vignette layer. So what you can do is you can just change the opacity of this layer, and for all layers that you customize by changing the opacity, you can change opacity either by clicking on the word opacity and just dragging it aside like this, or you can just click on this arrow here and then just move this slider around. Alright, and after you make some changes, just press Ctrl Command S here, and you can close this window. The changes will be automatically updated here. And here we got the background effect, saturation, brightness. So what this layer does is going to boost a little bit the light, the brightness of the photo, of the background effect, and it's also going to desaturate the photo. You can double click here and make any changes to the saturation or the brightness if you like. I'm just gonna keep the default. And the next folder we got here is the subject folder. So I'm just gonna hide the subject details folder for now, so you better see the changes and here and how each layer works. Alright, so I'm just gonna hide all these layers, and the first layer we got here is the subject base. Right, so this does the base effect of the subject, and the next layer we got is the main subject layer. And what you can do is you can change the opacity of this layer to get a different art style. Alright, and I'm going to increase the opacity like this. And what you can also do is prefer more the look of this subject base layer on some specific areas. You can just select the layer mask of this layer, hit B on your keyboard, select the brush tool, pick a soft brush, set foreground color to black, and just brush over the areas where you wish to reveal the subject base layer. Right, just like that. Or you can just brush with a white or those areas and make this layer visible, those areas again. Right, And the next layer we got here is the subject boost, and what this layer does is going to boost the saturation of some areas of the subject, and it's going to increase the levels, as you can see. And I'm just going to drop the opacity of this layer. And the next layer we got here is the reveal subject details layer. It says here brush white tinted mask. So what this layer does is, if some areas of your subject are not have visible details, what you have to do is to just select this layer mask, pick a brush tool, set foreground color to white, and just brush over those areas. Alright, because if you just turn off this layer mask and zoom in here, you'll see that this layer is much more looks like the original photo. Alright, so it's going to, if it's happened that some details of photo are not too visible, well, you can just brush with a white into the layer mask of this layer on those areas. Alright, so the next folder we got here is the subject details folder. Just gonna turn it on, and the first layer we got here is the subject edges layer. Alright, so just gonna change the opacity of this one. Something like this. And the next layer we got is the subject stroke. So what this layer does, it creates the stroke all around your subject. And the next layer we got is the subject shadows. So what this layer does, it's going to boost the shadows of your subject. What you can do is just change the opacity. I'm gonna drop it down like this. And here we got the subject highlights layer. So what this layer does is going to boost the highlights of your subject. And I'm gonna drop down the opacity of this one as well. And here we got the highlight subject details layer. So what this layer does is going to highlight the details of your subject. Alright, so I'm just gonna set it, increase its opacity a little bit like this. And the next folder we got here is the color looks folder, and as I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are 20 preset color looks that the action creates. And all you have to do is to just select any of these color looks, turn it on, see how it looks. If you don't like it, simply try with another until you find the one that goes best with your photo. Alright, so what you can also do is you can, for example, turn on this color look, drop down its opacity a bit, then turn another one, change its opacity, and that way you can combine more color looks to create some more color looks. Alright, so in this example I'm going to use this one here. And here we got a photo tint layer. Alright, so what this layer does is adds the tint to the photo, and what you can do is you can just choose any filter here, and you can also change the density of the filter you select. Alright, so you can just see which one goes best with your photo. I'm gonna use this one in this example, and then I'm just gonna set the density like this. Okay, and here we got the overall contrast. So how you adjust the contrast is you just change the opacity. Alright, and here we got the overall vibrance and saturation layer. So what this layer does is going to increase the vibrance and saturation. And how you adjust the vibrance and saturation is just double click on this layer thumbnail here, and now you can adjust the saturation and the vibrance using these sliders here. Right, and here we got the overall brightness layer. So this layer is just going to fade a little bit the shadows here. Alright, and I'm not going to turn on this layer yet, because if you check this layer here, you see all these lines that are the edges of the design, and that are sharpening the design. But as I have made some changes to the design and I'm going to make more changes, this layer needs to be updated as well. So what I'm going to do is just going to delete this layer, and I'm going to create again later. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I just want to transform the background. So all you have to do is to select any of those background shape actions, just click play. Alright, and the action will hide the background effect layer and going to create this new layer here. And what you can do is press Ctrl Command T here, right click anywhere inside the canvas, you can choose distort or any other transforming option, and you can then transform, make some additional transformations here to this shape if you like, and this layer also got the same adjustments as the background layer. Now the background color layer will be also visible, so you can change the background color if you like. Alright, and if you wish to use try some other shape, what you need to do is to select these two layers using Control or Command buttons and just press delete, and then select some other that you like. Alright, if you don't like that one, so simply just delete these two layers until you find one that goes best with your photo. So I'm going to use this one here, and just going to press Control Command T. I'm going to choose distort. Just going to change this shape a little bit, just like this. Just hit enter. Alright, and now I'm going to create the I'm going to apply the sharpening effect. Right, so just gonna just select the overall brightness layer and press Ctrl R Shift and D or Command Option Shift and D to make a screenshot, and then press Ctrl Shift U or Command Shift U to desaturate the photo. Go to Filter, Other, High Pass, set radius to 2 pixels, and then change the blending mode of this layer to hard light. Right, and there's just one more important thing, that is that some color looks are going to change the color of the background as well, like this one here. If you don't wish to change the color of the background, what you need to do is to drag this layer for just backward. So just drag it outside of this folder and change the blending mode of this folder to normal, and then you have to drag this layer also above, just like this, right? And if you wish that this layer affects the background as well, just drag that layer also out to the folder over here. Okay. And what's important also is that you name this layer overall sharpening. This layer to be created because if you wish to animate the results, because this actually will use this layer, right? And now what you can do is, if you wish to add some additional element, you can just select the additional element action, click play, and you'll get the message. It says, in next pop-up window, choose the PNG image that you want to add and click place, then position and transform the images you like and hit enter. Choose continue to proceed. So the element you wish to add needs to be a PNG image, so you shouldn't have the background, right? So just gonna choose continue, and I'm gonna select the image that I'm going to use. You're going to click place. Alright, here it is. Now you can transform this image however you like and position it where you like. So for example, I can position it like this and just hit enter, and the action will continue to work. Alright, and after the action is finished, you can now move this layer around, transform it again if you like. Just press Ctrl Command T, make any transformation that you like. You're just going to drag it just below the subject layer, right? And now if I want to use this additional element, I should be creating this layer again, as you can see, because it needs to be updated, so it gives the sharpening to the additional element as well. Right, I'm not going to use the additional element in the example. I'm just gonna delete this layer and just gonna turn on the color look I used. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the text. So just gonna select the add text action, click play. Alright, so here we got the message. It says, now using the horizontal type tool, edit the text that you like. Feel free to create remove text layers. You can use as many text layers as you want. After you finish, play the action again. Choose stop to proceed. So just choose stop. And as it says in the message, what you can do is you got the action creates these 3 text layers. If you wish to use more, you can just simply select any of those text layers and press Ctrl Command J on your keyboard, and then just drag that layer and use more text layers if you like, or you can simply delete some of these layers if you wish to use less text layers. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is just gonna hit T on my keyboard to select the horizontal type tool. I'm gonna select this text and just gonna change the text. I'm gonna do the same for this one here and for this one here. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is just gonna reposition these text layer, and I'm gonna increase the size of these parts of the text, and just gonna reposition these text layer as well. Alright, just like this, and all you have to do after you finish, just play the action again. Alright, as you can see, the action will add text to the design. So what you can do now is just select the text layer thumbnail, press Ctrl or Command T on your keyboard, and you can just transform this text as you like. Right, you can transform it like this, and you can position it where you want. Alright, and now I'm just gonna drag this layer just below the brush layer, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate this result. So I'm just gonna go to window, timeline, so I have the timeline visible over here. So all you have to do is to select the animate result action and just click play. Right, so the action is just finished, so all you have to do is just click play here, and the first time the animation will work slowly because it's not rendered yet. Just gonna click on this main icon over here, and just gonna check the loop playback option, and just gonna click play again. So now the action is going to repeat the animation when it's finished, and now it works. Once it's rendered, it's going to work smoothly. Alright, and now if you have added some additional element, you need to play this action as well. So you just select this action, click play, and it's going to be animated. The additional element is going to move with the subject. Right, what's important is that if you have several additional elements, for example, so several additional elements, it's important that you just select both of those additional element layers and just press Ctrl or Command E on the keyboard to merge them into one layer, and then just rename that layer to additional element. Alright, it's important so that if you used several additional elements, they're just merged as one layer named additional element. Alright, and to save your animation, you can just go to File, Export, and just choose Save for Web. And all you have to change here is the looping options. It needs a bit of time to render the animation here because the file size is very large. Okay, so once it's rendered, just change the looping options from once to forever, and you can just save the animation. And if you wish to get the animation rendered faster, you can just before you save the image, just go to image size, and just drop down the image size. Alright, so let's just check the before and after once more. So this was our before image, and this is the after. Okay, so that's it. I hope you understood everything, but if you still need any help or got any questions, feel free to contact me anytime via my Envato profile page. Thanks for watching.